Yeah, the lion, king of the jungle, the ultimate symbol of courage and strength, right? Well, sometimes it's a coward. And honestly, you can't even blame it. I mean, who in their right mind would stand their ground against the 5 animals you're about to see? So let's not waste any time, and if you're a lion fan, brace yourself, because you're about to see 5 nightmares that turn the most feared predator on Earth into nothing more than a desperate coward. Now, let's begin. All right, let's talk about the river, because on land, the lion's got this whole I own everything vibe going on. But the second he walks up to the water, that confidence, gone. Picture it. You're a lion, you're thirsty. The river is 10 steps away. Then the water ripples, and something the size of a truck starts to rise. That's a hippo. And I need you to forget everything you think you know about them, because you're picturing a slow, grass-eating pool float, right? Wrong. So wrong, it's actually kind of dangerous. Let's start with size. A big male lion? Maybe 400, 500 pounds on a great day. A hippo? Can weigh close to 3.5 tons. That's over 7,700 pounds, standing between you and the water you need to survive. You think that's bad? It gets worse, because size alone doesn't win fights. So let's talk about the mouth. A hippo can open its jaws to almost 150 degrees. And inside that trapdoor, bite force of around 1,825 pounds per square inch. A lion? Roughly 650. That's almost 3 times the crushing power of the king of the jungle. And the lower tusks in that mouth never stop growing, just get longer, sharper. Here's what makes hippos different from almost every other animal on this list. With a lion, you understand the rules. Stay away from its cubs. Don't steal its kill. Don't corner it. With lions, their behavior usually makes sense. A hippo? Sometimes it doesn't. Good luck figuring out the rules, because sometimes there aren't any. A lion will sometimes walk away from its own kill, just because a hippo showed up. A starving apex predator, abandoning food because one vegetarian got angry. But wait, you'd think at least a lion could outrun one, right? Big, heavy animal, clumsy on land? Nope. On land, a hippo is way faster than you'd expect. Over a short distance, that extra half second you thought you had, you don't have it. Now here's where it gets almost unfair for the lion. The lion finally reaches the river. One more step, and he gets to drink. Then 2 eyes rise above the surface, watching him. Because hippos don't just tolerate water, they defend it like it's sacred ground. And that's a lion's relationship with a river. Every single day, he has to risk his life, just to survive. And if you think that's just theory, watch what happens. A lion is already fighting for its life against other lions. And then a hippo joins the scene. Not because it's hungry, not because it wants either of them, just because it decided this fight is now its business. That's the thing about hippos. You can't read them. You can't predict them. A lion roars before a fight. A hippo just starts walking toward you. And somehow, that's even scarier. Because hippos have been documented attacking animals they have absolutely no intention of eating. No food motive, no territory being stolen. Nothing you can point to and say, that's why. And that's exactly what makes them so hard to plan around. You can study a lion's patterns for years and know exactly when to run. A hippo breaks that. So think about it. The lion, the animal we put on flags, on logos, on movie posters, will quietly back away from a grass-eating river animal. No roar, no stare down, just retreat. Maybe the lion wears the crown, but at the river, the hippo decides who lives long enough to drink. All right, let's leave the river for a second. Surely things get easier on land, right? Wrong. Because the next animal doesn't scare lions with teeth, it scares them with one charge.
Oh, gold.
A rhino's eyesight, it's basically like someone walking around without their prescription glasses. We're talking a few yards away, and it might not even know if it's looking at a lion or a tree. But making the mistake of thinking that's a weakness? Dead wrong. Because a rhino doesn't wait for things to come into focus. It charges first and asks questions later. Everyone assumes the real danger is the horn. Wrong. The horn is just the part that stings. The part that actually kills you is the literal ton of muscle driving it at full speed. A rhino can hit speeds of around 30 miles per hour. That's faster than humanly possible. Put yourself in the lion's paws for a second. That's not a horn charging at you. That's a runaway mountain. Here's something else no one talks about. A rhino's skin can be up to a couple of inches thick. To a rhino, a lion's claws are basically just a bad scratch. The lion is the apex predator. It's always the one who decides when to strike. But face to face with a rhino, the script flips. The rhino goes on the offensive, and suddenly, the lion is playing defense. Want to know just how terrified lions actually are of rhinos? An entire pride, 4 or 5 fully grown lions, will think 1,000 times before stepping up to a single rhino. And it's not just because the rhino is aggressive. It's because every single lion in that pride knows one cold, hard fact. Whoever starts the fight doesn't get to decide when it ends. That's why what you see isn't an attack. It's a siege. The lions circle, step in, back off. They're desperately waiting for a moment of weakness that simply doesn't exist. And most of the time, that moment never comes. So the entire pride just cuts their losses and walks away. But wait, there's something even more lethal. A mother rhino with a calf? Running isn't even in her vocabulary. She plants herself right between her baby and the threat, and goes full throttle at the first twitch of movement. You don't beat a rhino, you survive one. You'd think surviving a rhino is the hard part. Actually, that was the easy one. Every prey animal in nature learns one single lesson from the day it's born: run. The Cape buffalo is the only one that completely missed that memo. I mean, it does run, but only for a short distance. Then, it turns right back around. It's not playing defense, it's a rescue mission. Forget whatever image you have in your head. The lion isn't attacking prey here. It's stepping directly into a solid wall of horns. And suddenly, the lion is the one trapped. Do you know what the most terrifying thing about a buffalo is? It's not how it fights when it's awake. It's what it does when the lions are asleep. Picture a single buffalo creeping up on a pride of lions, completely knocked out after a heavy meal, dead silent, until those horns are right on top of them. The hunter is now the one running for its life. 35 miles per hour. That's not a buffalo just trotting along. That's a buffalo seeing red. Meaning, outrunning it isn't an option. Its skin isn't just skin, it's literal armor. A lion takes down a buffalo. He's standing over it, proud. A second goes by. A minute. 10 minutes. The lion is still standing on his prize. Then suddenly, a rumble in the distance. The herd isn't coming to mourn the fallen. They're coming to take him back. There's no battle cry, no alpha signaling "let's go." The entire herd moves at the exact same millisecond, as if they all made the decision, in absolute silence. The lion decides when to attack. The buffalo decides when it's over. You know what's scarier than an animal that fights back? One that doesn't even have to, because the next animal doesn't chase lions. It simply reminds them how small they really are. With every animal we've covered so far, the lion made the choice to attack and regretted it later. With the elephant, that choice is made before it even gets close. A lion sees an elephant from a distance and just walks in the other direction. It's not sudden panic, it's a calculated, preloaded decision. And the craziest part? The lion isn't terrified of the biggest bull in the herd. It's terrified of a mother with her calf. Because she's not going to give you a second to explain that you weren't actually going to do anything. Picture this scene for a second. A lion lets out its most deafening roar, the exact same roar that sends other animals running for the hills instantly. The elephant just keeps walking, sometimes without even glancing over. With the buffalo, it was the horns. With the rhino, it was the charge. Most animals have a weapon. The elephant? It is the weapon. A casual shove is enough. One swing of the trunk is enough. A single step is enough. Its entire body is a weapon, not just a part of it. And the absolute worst sound a lion could ever hear isn't another roar. It's an elephant's distress call. That's exactly why, if you ever see lions actually attacking an elephant, it's either a calf or it's sick, or it's completely isolated from the herd. But a healthy, fully grown adult elephant? The absolute smartest thing a lion can do is just pretend it wasn't hungry in the first place. The rhino runs. The hippo charges. The buffalo chases. The elephant? It walks. No rush, no fear. Just moving like it already knows. Absolutely nothing is going to stop it. Every animal you've seen so far had to fight the lion. The elephant doesn't, because most of the time, the lion already made up its mind. At least with an elephant, you know exactly where the danger is. The next animal, you usually don't, until it's already too late. The crocodile? It just waits. A lion can walk away from an elephant. It can steer clear of a rhino. But there's one thing it has absolutely no choice over: thirst. It has to go to the water. Meaning, it willingly walks on its own four paws right into the exact spot the crocodile picked out from the start. Think about how crazy that is. The king of the jungle has to ask permission from the river every single day. Here's something most people don't know. The crocodile doesn't just strike at the first piece of prey that gets close. It lets plenty of opportunities pass right by, just waiting for the exact, perfect moment. To a croc, patience isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. 2 seconds of dead silence. The water is completely still, like there's nothing underneath. Then, the river just explodes. No warning, no sound before it happens. The bite isn't the most dangerous part, it's what comes right after. Because the crocodile doesn't just pull, it rolls. Fast and violently, until the prey completely loses all sense of which way is up and which way is down. And the strangest part? The crocodile is in no rush to make a quick kill. It can grab its prey, drag it under, and just wait. It's completely different from every other animal in this video. The elephant? The lion can see it. The rhino sees it. The buffalo sees it. The crocodile? It could be lurking just 3 feet away, and the lion itself has absolutely no idea. Watch any lion standing at the edge of the water. It doesn't just lower its head and start drinking. It looks right, it looks left. It drinks fast, taking quick, short sips, lifting its head every few seconds. Even the king of the jungle, right here, acts like it's terrified. The crocodile doesn't have the strongest muscles, or the fastest sprint, or the biggest body. It doesn't need to be the strongest. It just needs to be first. On land, the lion chooses the fight. At the river, the crocodile chooses the moment. Today, the king of the jungle lost his crown. Next time, we'll see what happens when the king of the ocean starts running instead.